Welcome to Life's a Journey with Dani. I did want to do an update with my garden. So today, well actually starting about a month ago, I started planting my potatoes. So I got a bag from the store. I put them in a drawer in my house and they started sprouting the eyes on there. I kind of have some unconventional type of potting pots. So I do have a nice hardware container. It's about 5 gallons. What I did is, if you see, I have a ton of leaf that I just grabbed throughout the fall. Underneath, it is starting to decompose, so what I did is I just dug a little bit underneath over here, grabbed some of the dirt. Like I said, it is starting to become actual good composted dirt underneath there, and I use that as my potting mix for my my potatoes. What I did is I put one of these potatoes in here, and then I just fill it up with some of that composted dirt. Another thing I saw is an unconventional type of pot is using an old toilet. Now it has been washed out and everything, but I did put a potato in here and a potato in here, and I'm going to see how that works. Again, it's leaf mold and then covered up with some leaves as some mulch, which I have right there. And there is drainage in there. You know, obviously there's drainage down there because it just goes out, and then drainage on the back as well as one underneath, so there is water drainage. And then I want to show you my peach trees, because I know in one of my other videos I did talk about peach seeds that I transplanted, so I do have them over here. As of today is January 14th of 2021. Now the other day we did have quite a bit of a snow, so now it's all melted, and it lasted like 2 days. So this, in one of my other videos, I think the leaf composting area was a lot bigger than this, but with the snow and everything, it has been starting to decompose down. And yes, it does kind of look a little bit messy. And our area has a lot of clay, so I'm hoping it'll break down enough to bring the earthworms back in to regenerate the soil. And I'm going to start separating it out a little bit and using it as my potting mixes. So over here, I have my peach tree seedlings from my big tree over there. Again, so far the reason why some of them don't have their leaves is, of course, it is winter time. But this one here, she does still have her leaves on her. And of course this one's kind of grown. I want to say that's about a good 12 inches. This one here, I did have a little bit of problem with this one here because I think I left her in a bad pot that did not have drainage. So this one is still fighting to stay alive. We'll see how it goes this next year. But most of the leaves, like I say, it's fall, winter, so they've been losing their leaves. I do have them in the shed at night, kind of protect them from the winds and stuff during the night when it does get under like 35. So this one here, I believe this is a hedge plant, which I think is a Flotina. I'm not absolutely positive, but I think somewhere it's a seed from one of my neighbors I transplanted last summer. But it is growing pretty well. It looks like it's an evergreen. It's staying pretty good. It looks like the same leaves from the Flotina, which is like a hedge plant. And again, I have another peach tree here, which is about a good 12-14 inches high. Looks like it's taking. Should start getting its leaves shortly, as well as right there. So I think out of the 13 seedlings that I actually had, I gave 3 to my neighbor. And then I have 6 actual peach trees left for myself. And over here, again, like I say, it's a little bit of a mess, and I plan on, now that the snow is gone, I plan on actually cleaning this out for my vegetable garden. Again, I'm using a lot of the leaves as mulch as well as compost, because once you start digging again, well, this is grass, so I'm hoping it'll kill off little by little. But over here, when we dig up this, and I'm trying to do this to weigh down some of these paper bags. That's why it's a little bit messy in here, because I'm using some of the paper bags to hold that some of this in place. But as you see, most of this was just compost, but it is starting to break down and is starting to become actual dirt. And I started collecting the leaves and grass clippings, I want to say around the last week of October. So That's what it's gradually, little by little, breaking down. It was a lot higher, but like I said, over the last couple weeks, it's been with the rain and the snow, it has actually gone down because the piles were actually higher than this. And I have actually a chicken wire bin for compost here. That's been little by little breaking down. I have the weighted down some paper bags again to kind of hold the leaves in place because sometimes the wind will go. But it's little by little composting down. And then eventually I do plan on getting some chickens and some rabbits. I'm gonna make one of these sheds a chicken coop and one of them into a rabbit coop. I plan on getting some chicken wire and some like cattle panels of some sort to go around to make some chicken runs and rabbit runs, but then also have it where the rabbits can come out. And I plan on doing cover crops as well with red clover, crimson clover, which is like it'll help the soil as well, but it's also a feed for animals. So hopefully that will help be like a more natural feed instead of always getting like animal pellets, like rabbit pellets or chicken feed or something. So that would be like a supplement, like a more natural supplement, as well as the grain and stuff. And over here I have a apple tree, and little by little we were mulching around it with the leaves as well to kind of help the soil area here as well for the trees. This is an apple tree. I cannot remember what kind of apple tree it is at the moment, but it is starting to get some little, I guess, what you can say, start of some buds, where it's getting ready to leaf out pretty soon. So, and this is my what I call my mama peach. She grows quite prolific here with a lot of peaches. First year, I think I said last time, was a couple of the branches over here you'll see have been cut because they were so weighted down. It actually broke a couple of the branches, so I did have to kind of prune them. As well as last week I did prune them away from my roof line a little bit to hopefully help that just stay up here a little bit. But other than that, this area, I say I'm trying to mulch it, get the leaves to decompose and be pretty good. This area out here on this side used to collect a lot of rainwater, but since I've been just letting the leaves and everything collect the last year or two, as well as since I've had the tree here, the soil has actually gotten a lot better. I used to actually have grass here, but I think with the less traffic and everything like that, and with the tree roots coming up to the surface a little bit, it kind of took away a lot of the grass, which is okay, but the water doesn't stand as much as it used to. It used to actually you'd walk and be like a good couple inches of water here. Now, when it rains, it does not hold that water anymore. It does actually go down a lot faster. So I do want to kind of do like one of those water percolation tests to see how fast it goes down. I think trees do help, like a lot of farmers and agriculture people do say trees, cover crops, anything like that do help your soil to retain water and to help with water infiltration, where the water will stay in the ground versus standing on top. And again over here, trying to get the grass or the dirt to be built up. It's very uneven over here. So eventually, once this builds back down, I'm going to kind of make along here like a cement walkway, basically, so when I do set my fence back up, the gate does not keep hitting into the grass. I'm going to put it about a foot out on either side, so that way, I'm not sure which way I'm going to have my door go in, but that way the grass and the dirt will not stop the fence from moving as the grass builds up. And like I say, I usually, when I do my grass mowing, I usually just do a mulcher. I don't pick up the leaves. I leave it where it just goes back into the ground, so it acts as a fertilizer for the ground. Crepe myrtles are a very good tree to have in your yard when you live in the south, because they kind of eventually they make their own water, or sometimes you can be standing under them and it feels like it's raining a little bit, but it's just them perspiring their own water back out to kind of replenish their water. This is some flowering. Oh, and I lost my little tag to this. This is actually a little flowering bush that I got for her birthday, so she can take care of it. It has little white flowers, and I think it's a hibiscus. I think can't really remember, but it's a white flowering hibiscus. Most of these are crepe myrtles, and these evergreen ones here are the Texas Mountain Lilac, Texas Mountain Laurels, I'm sorry. They stay green all year. These seeds are from an actual, like the flower, after the flower dies off, it produces those seeds. Flowers only last a couple days. It's usually around the middle to end of March to April that they flower. Very beautiful smell, a purple flower. But like I said, the only downside is they don't last that long. A good shade tree and a good flowering tree. The one downside to this tree, I do have to say, is when it's younger and it's small, you have to be careful of, it's like a worm or caterpillar type thing. I believe it's a webworm or a sodworm. They will make a lot of webs and a lot of babies in there, and they're like little caterpillars, and they will eat a lot of the new leafy green on there. So that is one thing you have to kind of watch for on those. But other than that, it's still a good tree. That is the only bad side to it from what I experienced. This is a different type of a crepe myrtle. Some crepe myrtles, they're very small. They only go to, some of them are the small bushy ones that only grow to be about 4 to 6 feet. Other ones, I think this one only grows to be about 8 feet. I've had this one here for about 10 years and has not really gotten any higher than this. The other ones I've had same time. They're already at about almost 20 feet. You know, I want to say approximately. So those are the real big ones. And let's see. And here in my flower bed here, these things here are what we call volcanic rock or lava rock. It's a very good, it's usually used as like a mulch, but it's also used, I've had this in here. I haven't really added any more for like the last 8 years. Little by little it breaks down, but the volcanic rock, it's a good nutrient for your soil. It has a lot of iron and phosphorus. So as it rains or as it deteriorates down, it provides the fertilizer for your flower beds, as well as being a mulch. I probably do need to add a little bit more. It is starting to wear out a little bit. But other than that, I haven't really fertilized these areas here where I have the volcanic ash, or the volcanic rock or lava rock. And you can get that at anything like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, those type of places. Again, these two trees, if I remember, like I said, I just happened to see them grow in my yard. They happen to be sprouting in my yard somewhere, and I did a transplant. They took, and I think they're some sort of a pear tree from what I remember when I actually looked at them, and when the leaves, they actually look like a pear leaf, but they're real small, like little balls. But they're real bitter right now. I don't know if it's just because it's still a young tree or if that's just the way they're supposed to be. And then looking at the bark or the tree trunk, it looks like some sort of a pear tree as well. But in the spring, I will try to, like I say, I will do more pictures of it. This one here is another crepe myrtle. Again, I took that as a cutting, or not a cutting, but like a transplant. Crepe myrtles, they get these seeds. They can reproduce by seeds. Or they can also spread from the roots as they go under, and then they'll resprout underneath. So they got double way of producing. This one here, and like I say, I'll have to show you, like say, when the leaves come out in the fall or the spring, I'll have to show you a better picture. But this one here is supposed to be some sort of an Asian tree. I cannot remember what it is called. But it's beautiful, big leaves, nice little white flowers it has on it. Over here. Oops. And I guess these are the seeds. So these are what the seeds look like in there. So, but it's, I've had this for about 6 years. When I first got it, it was like maybe 2 feet tall. But like I say, it's, I water it, but then like say the fertilizer to it is just that iron, the volcanic lava rock. And then this one here is a flower, I want to say it's a mulberry tree, but it hasn't been spreading out like I thought it would, because I've had this one for about 6 years, and I thought it would be bigger than what it is. I did prune it a couple times, but I think when I had somebody out pruning it officially, they kind of cut into it a little bit, and I don't think it's really going to hurt it. but they kind of scalped some parts of it over here where it's healing up. I don't know if that might be part of it, but where they pruned a little bit too close. I'm hoping she'll spread out in the next year or two to get more shade. I was trying to do it to shade this area here. And again, I have a lot more leaves over here on this area because I did have a real big dip in my yard, which was kind of a pain to mow over, mow in, because it would scalp a lot of areas. I still have a little bit of a dip right here where you can see there's kind of an indentation here that I have to fill this area in here. But I'm trying to level out this area and move my way over. You see the kind of grade difference there. This is like the third year, the third fall, spring air time that I've actually been doing the leaves over in this corner. I just been raking up around the yard and then pushing it over. It's taking me a while. I just figured trying to do some real cheap ways to do it myself versus trying to buy a lot of dirt from the stores. But other than that, like I say, I try to do things because I'm a single person. Well, it's just me, and like I said, I got divorced a couple years ago, so it's just me, my daughter, her boyfriend, and the two grandkids over here, as you see, that are playing and yelling, which are being kids, which is fine. They tend to get a bit loud, but they're having fun. But when you're on a budget and stuff and you're kind of doing things on budget, you want to find some ways to do things as cheaply as possible with as free resources. So those are some of the things I'm looking into. People will get rid of their leaves every year, put them on the side of the curb. They'll rake them up and put them on the side of the curb. Just take a truck if you have one, or your car. I didn't have a truck. Me and my daughter went and we just drove around and picked up a bunch of bags a couple times a day over the course of a couple weeks. And I think over the course of that time, I think we picked up like over 200 bags of leaves. So, but it breaks down and it's compost. You know, it's basically breaks down and does compost and leaf mulch. So it works. But yeah, and that's pretty much my yard. Again, it's still winter, so again, it's hard to tell what the yard is really you know, looking like, because doesn't have its leaves, and how the garden is. And again, I will have to work on the garden. But other than that, those are some of the things that I'm working on. Garden wise, I do want to do some experimentation with a form of gardening called Hugelkultur, which is a German form of gardening, where you just take some old tree branches and logs, and then you start putting compost or whatever on top of it, and then you will, as it breaks down, it's supposed to absorb a lot of the water, and old logs will absorb the water, and they'll hold the water, so that way you don't have to water as much. I do kind of want to do some hugelkultur, which is, like I say, some mound gardening. I kind of want to do one here in the front, which would kind of be like not really sure if it's going to really come out very well, but instead of using the bricks that I have here, or the retaining wall bricks, try to make a hugelkultur to go around it, and then plant some like flowers on there, like the red clover, or some other type of plants there that would just kind of like be like a little natural setup for like the birds and stuff. And then eventually make one of these old sinks that I found. One of them, clean it out and clean them out and make one into like a water feeder, a bird bath, and then the other one into a feeder. So that's my intent to be like a little bird sanctuary thing over here. So that's my yard so far. Again, this weekend, my intention is, again, it's January 14th. So this weekend, I know it's not the last frost date of the year for us down here. And again, I'm in Central Texas. I think Zone 8A, I think it is. Our last frost date, I think, is supposed to be in March. So I think I'm going to start this weekend doing indoor seedlings. You have lettuce and spinach and tomato and cucumbers and stuff, and asparagus. So I'm hoping that will... so those things will take, and then when it becomes good weather outside, I can go ahead and plant those into the vegetable garden. And actually, by that time, I should have the vegetable garden up and running, and put chicken wire around it, and actually have all that other mess cleaned up around there. So I do thank you for watching. Again, hit the subscribe. You and your family have a wonderful and safe New Year. Thank you.